Hello and welcome back to the Praying Twice podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm Martin Doman, your host, and I want to talk to you a little bit about songs and how they mean things to us. Do you ever listen to a song like over and over again? Uh, Something new, something that touches you, you just keep listening to it over and over and over again. I do this. Um, there's a new album out right now by 21 Pilots called Clancy, and 21 Pilots is a band that my son and I listen to, and my kids, I should say, listen to. And I got into it several years ago. My son was really loved this band, and so I started listening to their music, and I really love their music. They're a little, if you're not used to that kind of music, it's kind of out there. There's a lot of screaming, but it's mostly singing and kind of like electronic music, popular music with a lot of drums. It's really good. Anyway, the reason I mentioned them is because I've been listening to their songs over and over again. And my son just told me the other day, one of my other sons, I said, "Have you heard the new album?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I have it on repeat all the time." So we do this, right? We listen to songs over and over again. Why do we do that? It's kind of like the first time. This is my theory. Like the first time I listen to a song, something that I want to listen to, I just let it hit me. I just let it hit me and just kind of feel the whole thing. And then maybe the second or third time, you start listening to the lyrics and kind of thinking about what the lyrics mean. And maybe the third or fourth time, fifth time, you're listening to just the drums or just listening to just certain parts of the way the song is constructed. And maybe like the hundredth time, you're thinking about the lyrics, a little deeper. You're thinking about what does he mean by that? And the songs the artist in this band writes are they're very spiritual. There's a lot of songs about like needing help, and I think he says that his Christian faith informs a lot of the music, but I can definitely hear that voice of a soul longing for help, longing for uh, that kind of spiritual help, I guess, or just encouragement that only and hope and like only God can give. And so I just love their music. They're really good. But so have you ever listened to a song over and over again like that? I think it's because when we hear things repetitively, we're like imprinting it on our mind. Um, when we listen to things over and over, it's like printing something on your mind. And this is I think it's a very old technique of just repeating things over and over again that you really care about. And I think we're just like that. You just if sometimes you're just walking down the street and you're listening and you're just taking in all the sounds that you're hearing. And let's say you're hearing birds singing, and you don't really think about it, but if you really listen, you don't think about the individual bird that's singing. You know, you just think about the general sound you're hearing. Like going back to old songs. Sometimes you have a playlist. I know I do. I have tons of playlists in my Spotify account. And I'm constantly listening to different songs, or sometimes you listen to a song because you're feeling something. You just want to feel you're in a certain mood, and that song reminds you of that. Sometimes you listen to a song and it takes you back to another completely different time in your life, and you kind of go through memories. It's interesting how music does that, right? It's so spiritual. It draws us back into older ideas or older memories. And there's certain songs I have that are just really precious to me. There are songs I don't listen to them that much. I don't listen to them that often, but when I really need something, or I'm really not doing well, or I need some help emotionally, or I just want to feel something specific, or I just need to feel encouraged, I will pull that song up and listen to it. I've got tons of songs like that, especially for different situations. I don't know. What do you, if I was to look through your music collection, what would I find? I'd probably find lots of different things. But I guess my point is that like when we listen to things over and over again and we repeat repetitively, kind of like imprint those things on our mind, um, we can hear new things in there every time. And this is applies to other things like scripture or um, just talking to a certain person. And maybe somebody like my father says kind of the same phrases or the same comments each time. But it doesn't mean, we do that. We sometimes when we hear something we've heard before, we kind of skip it. Like I don't know if you've ever done this too with a playlist, but you go through songs and uh, you know, you, maybe you have a big playlist of stuff you like, and then you're like, oh, I've heard that before. Skip, skip, skip. But sometimes we just need to stop and listen. And there could be something new that we experience by repeating something that we've heard before. So like old things like scripture or other things like that, like when we hear them over and over again, um, we can hear new things every time. God can speak to us through that. If you ever listen to birds singing, you just kind of it's kind of a background noise. Right now it's springtime and it's so nice, just kind of going outside and being in the sun. You just hear birds singing all over the place where I live. And I live kind of in the country with a lot of trees, so there's tons of birds. And just listening to those birds singing is so peaceful. And it's such a beautiful kind of like background music for my life when I'm out there. But if you think about it, like each individual bird is singing a specific song. And that bird's not thinking about it. They're not thinking about its emotional life. They're just doing what birds do. Uh, I'm not really sure why birds sing. We could probably look that up. But anyway, I like to think of it that birds are just they're sort of rejoicing in being outside or coming back because birds go and migrate to different parts of the planet, different times of the season. But just listening to those birds singing, sometimes we feel like God doesn't talk to us. I don't know if you feel like this, but I feel like God's talking to us all the time. He's just talking to us through things that we're not listening to. Because you might think, well, God never talks to me. Well, maybe he does, but we're not really hearing it. I like to think that like listening to those birds singing is something like that. Like bird's an animal. It doesn't really think about what it's doing. Sometimes I'm jealous. Sometimes I'm jealous of animals because they kind of just, I don't know, they just do what they do. They don't really think about it. They don't have an anxiety. When a bird's building a nest, he's not thinking, oh man, is my wife gonna like this nest? I hope she likes it. Hope it works out. Maybe I should do it this way or that way. He just builds a nest. He just kind of gets sticks and puts them together. And in that certain sense, like I'm jealous because I'm like, I wish life was that simple, right? They just do what they're kind of wired to do. And what are we? I want to do the things that I'm supposed to do. Like, following my instincts is not always, sometimes that doesn't lead to the right thing in case if you're feeling certain emotions that aren't good, but just following, like, what am I supposed to do? What is the thing that I'm supposed to do? Birds are supposed to sing, they're supposed to build nests. What's the thing that I'm supposed to do as a human being? And I think that when we kind of strip our life down to the basics, that's what it's about. It's about just doing what we were always meant to do. And so there you go, 21 Pilots, birds, doing what you're meant to do. But this is just another example of how music penetrates us. It kind of draws us out of ourself, makes us feel things that maybe we need to feel, and it's so beautiful. Sometimes certain songs or certain music can just really hit you in a way that you didn't expect. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but sometimes I'll watch a movie and that movie will just, I don't know, it'll just kind of really touch something inside of me and hit me. Uh, that movie, um, that movie La La Land is like that. I remember watching that movie the first time. I don't know if you know the movie, but it's a musical. That's why I mentioned it because it has these two characters and they're trying to kind of get through their life and figure things out, and they fall in love. And I'm not going to give the movie away, but it's kind of a dramatic ending that's not what you think. It's like a little plot twist at the end, and it's kind of sad. And I remember that movie just wrecked me. It just wrecked me. Like I watched that movie and for the next day I was like crying and getting really emotional. I don't know. There was something in there. Probably I can't explain now because it was probably some situation I was in. But it just touched me so deeply. And it was the music in the movie. That's the thing about about music. Like the music in that movie is very haunting. It's this beautiful jazz pieces but there's like a sad strain in the music that just kind of like sticks in your head. And I just kept singing those songs over and over again, like playing them in my head, singing the songs over and over again, playing them over and over again, because whatever the emotion was in that movie that I had, it just touched me really, really deeply. And that's what music can do. And I mean, it was like an era of my life listening to La La Land. And so, it's funny how we can sort of have these episodes in our life that are marked by songs, right? They're marked by touchstones that just draw us into something we haven't thought about. I mean, when I think about watching that movie now, like I can be brought right back to just that understanding of what love is and how it touches us and how when it's not, when it doesn't work out or something happens, it just makes us sad because each of us has this deep desire to be loved, a deep desire to be understood. And somehow the music can just cut through all of the misunderstandings or other things that affect us and just really help us to think about the most basic things like that, like love, like being loved. Um, it's amazing. So anyway, that's it for today. I'm really excited to announce that our next guest, actually, I shouldn't say next guest, our first guest is going to be Chris Paget, who is a amazing musician and comedian and just Catholic speaker and Catholic thinker, and he's super fun. And we'll discuss some of the stuff that we've been talking about and get his thoughts on that and just really enjoy hearing about his spiritual journey, his musical journey. So until next time, thanks so much for listening. God bless.